thank you very much for that. But most of the parents or even the learners, they know after graduation, you must have a job. So I don't know how your experience has been job hunting. In Kenya, it's not very easy to get a job. So maybe if you can tell us a bit, what has your experience been in that field?
I can say I'm among the few lucky ones. For me, I searched for a job for only 1 month after completing the studies,
Okay.
and I had not graduated.
What?
So I finished in April, and
Yeah.
in June I had a job. It was not a job for a graduate,
Yeah.
but I would say at
Yeah.
least I had a job.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yes, that 1 month it was not easy. I would wake up in the morning like I'm going to work
Yeah.
every morning with my papers, going here and there, here and there, here and there. Um, I got several turn-ups, like people would say, look at me. Basically, me, I'm a teacher.
Yeah. Okay.
So being a teacher, I was looking for a job for a teacher. So many people looked at me, how will I teach? And I would get questions when I go out and drop my papers. How will you teach? Will you stand for long? Such questions. So even when you are leaving your papers, you leave knowing maybe there's no hope.
That's true.
So later I learned the job that I got in that June,
Yeah.
it's not a teaching job.
Yeah.
I got in a health facility
Okay.
at a hospital. The same Kenyatta University employed me
Okay.
as a clerk, and I worked there for around 5 years,
Yeah.
which I can say it was an amazing. It had its ups and downs,
Yeah.
but it was at least Kenyatta University saw me as a person with capabilities, even if it's not my field. Yes, and I did it. Later, as I was working there, since it's not my field,
Yeah.
and I was also looking for a better place,
Yeah.
so I landed to Safaricom as a customer care. So I would say in Safaricom, among the many other companies and institutions,
Yeah.
Safaricom in employment for persons with disabilities
Yeah.
is one of the companies that has really tried.
Okay.
Like when we look at our Kenyan policies, every institution is required to employ 5% of persons with disabilities. Safaricom is trying.
Okay.
We are not yet there, but we are almost there. Yeah, I can say we are several of us in Safaricom, over 100 persons with disabilities. Yes, most of us are working in the customer care section, and others in other departments like HR.
Yeah.
And there at Safaricom is supporting us in every way. Like for now, we are working from home. So at home we are being provided with everything. Like for a person with disability, you do not have to move there and there.
Yeah.
So we are provided with everything that we need to work. And even when we were working in the office, I would say Safaricom was more considerate of us. They would provide us whatever we needed. For work-related issues, they would provide for us. So I would say that is one of the companies that I would encourage any person, and I would also give kudos to Safaricom because they are too considerate to persons with disabilities.
Actually, kudos to Safaricom. It's so important, by the way, to consider persons with disability, because they are not included from home to school, and then after graduation again job hunting. And if these companies are not inclusive enough, then where do you want persons with disabilities to go? Because at the end of the day, they need to pay bills. Let me not say they, because you are here. You need to pay bills. If you don't get a job, then how is your life? How are you going to move around and all these things? So we really thank Safaricom for taking that step, that bold step, because our show it's called The Bold Step. We really appreciate you for coming out and making sure that persons with disabilities are included in whichever way you can. and that's a plus for you guys. So I just wanted to ask, Safaricom, do they include any kind of disability, or do they have specific disabilities?
Currently, like for the customer care department, most of us are physical, simply because like when you sit, you can do you can do in the computer like anyone else. So for physically is easier. I've seen several persons with visual impairment, mostly in the HR department. And I've also seen several others with hearing impairment. In the customer care section, we also have a department for SMS, like a customer can SMS. So we also have those, some of us in that department. So basically, I've seen three types of disability. Those three.
Okay.
Yes.
That's great. Having three different kinds of disability in the same building, you take care of each and every need of each and every person.
Oh, I forgot. Yes, we have the albino department.
Okay.
Albino persons with disabilities. We have them in the customer care section. Several of them. Yes.
So those are four.
Yes.
Safaricom is doing great. We are proud of you, Safaricom. That's great. So I just wanted to ask, let me say I'm a person with disability and I really want to work with Safaricom. What advice can you give me?
I would really encourage you to work for Safaricom. It has so many other benefits, like the medical cover for us. Since we have some of our disabilities they require medical. So our cover, I can say, is a bit better compared to other institutions. For especially for us persons with disabilities, like we can get assistive devices, like crutches, like the ones that I came working with. Yeah, you can get that through the cover for the Safaricom and other benefits. Yes.
So you've said you've gone through some challenges in primary, high school, and at the university level it was a better experience. So what advice can you give to learners in maybe primary, high school, or whichever level of education?
Okay, in this I would echo the words from my grandfather, the late grandfather. I remember he used to tell me, for you, Lucy, okay, I have brothers and sisters, but I'm the only one who is special. So my grandfather used to say, for you, your only jembe is your education. Your brothers, your sisters, even if they don't go to school, not that he was not encouraging them to go to school, but he was insisting on my side, if I do not go to school, I do not have an alternative. My only jembe is one, education. So for other learners, the young ones, I would encourage you that your only jembe that you have, you as a learner with a disability, you have one. You do not have an option. Your jembe is education and education. That is what I do encourage.
Thank you, Lucy. That's a good encouragement. Actually, like in Kenya today, without education, I don't know if you can, and it's not a good thing, because in Kenya it's kind of, we really concentrate on education. It's education, and education. We don't kind of venture into other fields. We don't know that this child, maybe he can be good at another thing apart from education. I'm not saying education is not good. Education is good, but we need to also concentrate on other things. But as per now, the way you've said, it's education. So persons with disabilities, you have a word from your sister here. So thank you very much for that. Our show is called The Bold Step. I know you've taken a lot and many steps for you to even work for Safaricom, or even reach at this point. But maybe there's one step that you took that you never imagined that Lucy could take this step, but you gave your all. So maybe you can tell us about that step.
I would start after high school. For me, I don't know what happened, but I stayed for long without joining university. I stayed for around 3 years. So I had no hope of ever going somewhere else. I'm continuing furthering my education. So I would say having graduated last year with a master's degree, that is a bold step that I never thought in my life would happen. And also, I would say there's this time there's a company called Yali that was started by Obama when he was in Kenya. I saw many countries applying, and it came a time when I was just walking around in KU, and I met with one guy from Uganda. He was a Yali member. He pushed me. I was on a wheelchair. He pushed me, and then on the way he talked to me about Yali, and I got interested. It's about young leaders, and I got interested and I applied. And I'm glad I applied Yali because from there, Lucy is different. So I can say that is also a very strong, very bold step that I took. Yes.
That's true. I've heard of Yali. I've actually worked with Yali, and I can say that being among maybe a top 100 or 100 and something, being selected in such a program, it's not easy because it involves East and Central African countries. And I hope you've applied whatever you learned there. And I'm so glad you say that from the organization, the experience you got, a new Lucy was born, and I'm so glad to hear that. We've come to the end of our show, and I just want to give you some time to say last words or parting shots.
To everyone watching this, especially my friends with special needs, I'd say life is about positivity. Take life positive. Many challenges will come your way, but take it positive, whichever way it comes. Thank you.
Thank you very much, viewers, for tuning in. Thank you, Lucy, for coming and sharing your story. We hope you learn something or get encouraged from her story. We ask you to always feel free to interact with us through our social media platforms at The Visionary Guides. Until next time, bye-bye.